Formal.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thanks for tuning in to Facebook Live today. I'm Molly Dawson. I'm your host. So I'm an environmental major and a bio minor. I'm involved in fraternity and sorority life, a collegiate honor society, as well as on the executive board for the diplomat program here. And I'm here with Professor Dan Chong and Sam Barnes, a faculty member and graduate of Rollins College. So tell me a little about yourself. Dan,
Sure.
You can go first.
No problem. My name is Dan Chong. I teach in the political science department here at Rollins. I do courses on human rights, global poverty, peace and conflict, and I'm also the faculty director for our social innovation and entrepreneurship hub.
Awesome.
And my name is Sam Barnes. I'm the executive director of Better Lives. I was a CMC major, graduated 2011, and then did the 3-2 program and graduated Crummer in 2012.
Awesome. Cool. Very interesting. So we have some Rollins trivia for you first. Do you want the easy one or the hard one first?
Easy.
Easy one. Give us
Easy?
the easy one.
Oh, man. All right, here we go.
This is what Sam's going to argue.
They're multiple choice, so it's not as bad.
Oh, that's
All right. Which president started Fox Day? A. Thaddeus Seymour, B. Hugh McCain, C. Jack B. Critchfield, or D. Hamilton Holt?
I think it was Thad.
Really? I'm going to go with
so.
Hamilton Holt.
Yeah?
Both of us are?
It's Hugh McCain.
All right. Good start.
All right, now we're on to the hard
Now
one.
it's the hard one?
Well, harder.
All right.
All right, so what was the original school color? A.
Red.
Maroon, B. Emerald green,
You sounded really confident when
Yeah.
you said that.
C. Rose pink, or D. Sunset
Red
orange?
is not an option. Sorry. So I'm going to have to guess
It's in the
maroon.
same family. That
I'm going to
helps.
have to guess maroon.
Yeah,
since
maroon.
after that.
No, it's rose pink.
Dang it.
Rose
I didn't,
pink?
I didn't know
Oh, for
that
two?
one. Yeah, I didn't know that
Don't
one. That
listen
one
to
was
anything
rough.
else we have to say. We know nothing about Rollins. Great. That's a strong start.
Yeah, good to go. Good to go.
Rose
oh,
pink.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
I was
goodness.
surprised as well, but I have the answer. So.
That helps.
All right, so I have a couple kind of easy questions for you. So we'll go with Dan first.
Mm-hmm.
You're given a free plane ticket to anywhere in the world. Where do you go and why?
I would probably go to Southeast Asia. I spent a lot of time there, but and worked with a lot of people from Southeast Asia. But I've never been to Cambodia and Vietnam and Philippines, all around there. So I've always kind of wanted to
That'd be
visit around
awesome.
there. Mm-hmm.
I think I would go to somewhere very mountainous, like Nepal or the Alps or
that
something
would
like
be
that.
awesome.
Go see some big mountains, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
All right. And Sam, this doesn't really apply to you, Dan, but
Okay.
why did you choose Rollins, especially being from Maine?
Yeah, so I chose Rollins. I was kind of looking for something different at the time when I graduated from high school. So I applied to some schools in Florida and California, kind of just looking to be as different as I could think of. And
As far away
then,
from Maine as possible.
well, I love Maine, so I don't want to say that.
I like it.
But then, yeah, when I started doing the tours and learning more about each college, I liked the small class sizes at Rollins, and the 3-2 program was really interesting to me. So, yeah, it was a great fit.
Yeah, small class sizes was probably my biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I toured all the big colleges and I said, no. So Sam, tell us about your Rollins experience with social entrepreneurship, 3-2 program, all that good stuff. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was good. I really loved it. I'm really happy that I did it. So I started as a CMC major, and I loved that. It really definitely opened up my eyes to a lot of the things that were going on in the world and thinking about how you can't just choose not to engage in social issues. Like whatever you do, it has an effect on the world, and so you kind of need to address that.
And incidentally, CMC is critical media and cultural studies.
Yeah, critical media and cultural studies, yeah. So then going into Crummer, I was enjoying learning the business skills, but trying to figure out how to connect that with the things that I cared about from the critical media and cultural studies background. So when I started learning about social entrepreneurship, that seemed like a really natural way to fit those two things together.
Wow, perfect. And Professor Chong, what does it mean to you to educate students to become global citizens?
So global citizenship is kind of core to the Rollins mission. To me, global citizenship means a couple of different things. Like kind of the easy definition of global citizenship is that we live in a global society, global economy, and so we should train students to live in that global society. So that means basic skills like, sometimes language skills, cross-cultural skills, global awareness, knowing what's going on in the world. But for me, it's more than just that. I think the more important definition is that we train students to have a sense of moral obligation to the rest of the world. If we do live on one planet, then we can't pollute the rest of the planet. Yeah. We have to treat other people around the world as if they're equal human beings as we are. And so to me, that's what global citizenship means.
Yeah. And being an environmental student, that hits home with me as well.
Yeah.
And why do you think you're so passionate about teaching students about human rights and poverty in the
Yeah,
classroom as well as outside of the classroom?
Yeah, those topics really are my passion, and it really connects to global citizenship very clearly, right? Human rights is this concept that everybody has some inherent equal value, and a human rights violation that happens halfway around the world is just as important as one that happens here.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I've always been passionate about that. And then global poverty as well. People don't know necessarily that global poverty has been improving quite a bit over the last 20, 30 years, but about 1 billion people are still extremely poor. They don't have their basic needs met. And so, both in the classroom and also out of the classroom, like taking students to various places around the world to see people in very different circumstances that they grew up in is kind of important to me.
Yeah, for sure. I had a friend who went with you to Tanzania.
Oh, excellent.
So
last year?
She really loved it, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, going again this year. So.
And Sam, can you tell us about your passion, the Ecolodge in Tanzania?
Sure, yeah. So the Ecolodge is it's a project that was started here at Rollins. Really came out of my time here. It's more like a means to an end. It's a way of helping to improve the economy in one specific community that I had been working in. So now with Better Lives, it's one of many projects that we have all over the world. We have projects in Tanzania, Uganda, and Cambodia. And so the way we work is to find ways to collaborate with local communities. The 3 words we say a lot are collaborative, holistic, and sustainable is how we want to work together. So we want to find ways that we can support local organizations. So we don't have like Better Lives offices. We're supporting local organizations and local leaders to create changes in their community. And we want to help them do that in a way that is self-reliant is a big word that we use. So financially self-reliant, meaning that they are able to earn income from activities that benefit their community and earn income, like running an Ecolodge, for example, as well as they are organizationally self-reliant. So we work with them a lot on problem-solving techniques and how to think through and then manage businesses so that they can eventually be earning their own income and delivering benefits to their community in a way that doesn't rely on anybody else. So the Ecolodge is a really good example of that approach.
Yeah. And how do you, where do you think you got that idea from? How did that kind of spark interest?
Yeah, so that was when the first time I went out to Tanzania in 2010 was pretty much just to travel, to see stuff, the big mountain thing I was talking about before.
Yeah.
On Mount Kilimanjaro. And just kind of had a connection with that community. So then when we got back, it was just thinking, I don't have a specific idea, but I want to stay connected. And then through learning about social entrepreneurship and looking at the opportunities and challenges in that community, the Ecolodge seemed like a good fit because you're looking at like this beautiful mountain, so you have the natural beauty, an existing tourism market with people climbing the mountain, and then this particular community not really getting a lot of benefit from that industry. So I think that's really where the idea started. And then since then, there's been a lot of other working with the community and getting understanding of what that would actually look like.
And how do you think, you can go.
Oh, just to follow up on that. Sam got this idea for kind of changing the world in this way as a Rollins student. At the time when he was a Rollins student, we didn't have anything like a definable program called social entrepreneurship or a major, and now we have majors in social entrepreneurship and social innovation. But just to be clear, like this is a mindset that we try to develop at Rollins, right? Like we want to have students develop a passion for something in the world and something in their life. And whatever major you are, right, an environmental studies
Right.
major, a political science major, CMC or whatever it is, that you can kind of develop this,
Yeah.
this passion for changing the world in a positive way.
That's one thing that I've noticed definitely about Rollins since I've been here is everybody that I've talked to, regardless of their major, is always very passionate, even, for people that may have completely different, ideas than I do.
Mm-hmm.
They're all very passionate about what they do.
Mhm.
So I think Rollins does a good job of facilitating that,
Mhm.
for sure. And Professor Chong, what was it like to take current students to Sams Ecolodge in Tanzania? Tell us,
Mhm.
what that was all.
Really
that
cool.
experience.
Yeah, because Sam and I stayed in touch after he graduated. He had taken a couple of classes with me, but mostly stayed in touch because we played basketball together, played some intramural basketball and some
Awesome.
pickup. So we just became friends afterward. And he told me about his passion for going back to Tanzania and do some community development work there, and told me about the passion for creating this eco-lodge that's kind of self-sustaining. So I started taking a group of students there in 2014. And we worked on his agricultural development projects, kind of building sustainable gardens and so forth. But he still had this kind of dream of building a lodge. So when I took students back last year, he had actually bought the land. He had started some infrastructure on the ground. So it was really cool to actually see it coming to fruition. We had students actually kind of building stuff there at the kind of prototype of the lodge. There's still not an actual lodge there. It's basically tent camping now. But we had students building a little an oven and a stove and digging their hands in cow manure and things like that to put together a stove. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, so it was really kind of inspiring to see his dream coming true to some extent.
Awesome. And Sam, how was that for you? Was that kind of surreal to have all of them there?
Yeah, no, it was really fun. It was felt like coming full circle with things. But no, I always love having the so we have different groups come out with Better Lives and visit us from other universities and countries and stuff. But the Rollins one for me is really special because it's somewhere that I care about, and I like connecting with the students and hearing about what they want to do. So it's always a really fun trip. And that group was particularly exciting working on the lodge because it was this idea that kind of started from my time at Rollins, and now Rollins was back doing some of the first groundbreaking work, getting it started. So yeah, it was
just
really
one
fun.
other cool, really cool thing about the trip is just to see it. I don't want to pump you up in front of everybody, but
Pump it, yeah.
exactly.
Go
But just
for
to see the skills that Sam had developed at Rollins, right? I think a lot of students come into Rollins and they think, okay, I need a career and I need very specific career-related skills. And one of the things we try to do at a liberal arts college is to think, okay, what kind of skills can we build that kind of transcend different specific careers and would be just useful for being a good citizen, for being a good human being. And so it was really cool to see in Tanzania Sam having these kind of very concrete skills that you think about, okay, I know how to run a business, I know how to put together a spreadsheet and so forth. But also these what we call soft skills that we develop at a liberal arts college. So just a really good communicator, a really good at cross-cultural interaction, really accepted in this community that's very different than what you grew up in, just really accepted as one of their own. And that's the kind of skills that we try to build at Rollins too.
Perfect.
Well, last night we were talking about this a little bit, is that kind of idea of being able to feel comfortable in different cultures and people that are different from you in different ways. In the past has kind of been a nice to have, or it's a nice thing to be able to do, but
it's a charitable thing. Right?
But as demographics are shifting in America, it's becoming you really need to have that skill, so
or just something you were talking about yesterday, listening, right? The ability to listen and actually hear people and let people know they're heard, right? You don't really think about that as a skill. That's a really important skill.
I have friends that go to other schools, and so I'll say oh, look at this collaborative organization that we have, and they're like, oh, you have an organization for that? I'm like, yeah. So I think Rollins definitely pushes that for sure. And Sam, you were obviously inspired by what you learned at Rollins about social entrepreneurship, and Professor Chong being the faculty director of the Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship Hub. And how do you guys hope that incoming students will kind of carry that and also get as much out of that as you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really about helping students find their passion, what they really care about, helping students understand who they are, have their own set of values and ideas and so forth. So the Social Innovation Entrepreneurship Hub is just one of many offices on campus that can kind of help students find that and get plugged into a community organization or to an international experience that can help them to do that. So we have a community engagement office that I know Sam got really involved in. We have a kind of multicultural affairs office that helps students understand diversity and get plugged into community organizations, things like that. So yeah, that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I think it's like Dan touched on earlier, is like it's more about this mindset of understanding that global citizenship isn't really a choice. It's something that it exists, and like we have to address it, and we can choose whether or not we address it, but it exists. Right. So I think with the social entrepreneurship and social innovation, all that, it's less about is what you're doing technically, specifically social entrepreneurship, and more about what are the core principles that lead that, and how can you apply them to whatever it is. So like Better Lives is a nonprofit, but we use a lot of the principles of like financial sustainability and organizational self-reliance that you would find in social entrepreneurship. I think you can also have like a for-profit business that is just does their best to be responsible, not necessarily a social enterprise. Because in theory, if all of the for-profit businesses were as responsible as they could or should be, then we wouldn't have to talk about social entrepreneurship and all these other pieces. Right. So yeah, I think I hope that students start to take that mindset of understanding that actions, everything you do has good and bad consequences, so just trying to think through what that looks like.
And what advice do you guys have for any students that would want to get involved with either already on campus or in the future with the Social Innovation Entrepreneurship Hub or any of those areas? Would you have any advice for them, how to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, I would say a couple of things. One is just take classes from all across the curriculum. I think a lot of parents, want their kids to be doctors and lawyers, and I think that's a great thing. I have kids myself, and my daughter's thinking about being a doctor. But at Rollins, we really want you to kind of experience the different disciplines, different ideas about the world, and then also develop your career ideas. So that's part of it. And then everybody tells you, this is kind of cliche a little bit, but like get involved on campus, because like you say, there's student clubs, there are offices on campus and so forth, right? And so that's like one of the key benefits of going to a small school is like, you're not just a member, you are, you actually have a chance not to just participate in an organization, but to lead an organization, to be really central. So. Yeah,
I would definitely piggyback on getting involved. I think if you're really involved and you've got this like breadth of experience outside of the classroom, then that really opens you up to in your classroom time just be learning about like the things that you care the most about. And so we just went through a bit of a hiring process with some new folks for Better Lives, and having been part of that, I can say like the thing when I'm like looking through resumes, people that have really interesting experiences, that stands out a lot more than did you develop like a specific skill in the classroom. And I just say that because, trying to build your coursework around a career is, I think, a little bit, there's other ways to go about that. Yeah. So developing your coursework around trying to understand how the world works and trying to understand how to learn and how to be, I guess if we're saying global citizen, like how to be a global citizen, and then taking advantage of opportunities to get involved on campus, that'll give you a lot more of that experience that might more relate to a job.
And getting those summer, the summer internships and that kind of stuff, right? That's kind of how you develop this passion for Tanzania. It's like, you did a summer internship, then you did a conference. That,
one of the very first things I did getting involved on campus was leading, I don't know if it still exists, but the organization called Rollins Relief. So they started after Hurricane Katrina, and groups going down to New Orleans to do construction work with Habitat for Humanity. So that was like really one of the first things I did that gave me that feeling of like, this is fun. I'm like out here with a group of people, like we're doing something fun, it's making a difference. And I think that kind of that energy is like still something I seek when I'm doing any kind of work. So, but there's also, on top of that, is like we had to organize a trip. And so there's a whole bunch of organizational skills that went into that, like creating the budget and doing the marketing and then doing all the logistics for it. So that was a really practical hands-on experience that I think as much as any like even MBA level class where you're sitting in a
Right.
classroom learning theoretically how to do things, that's just as powerful.
Yeah. That's one thing that definitely doing tours for myself, I think people really pick up on, that we get a lot of questions about is, what are different things on campus for students and that sort of thing. And a lot of people are very taken aback by how many different options we have for organizations as well as just ways to get involved on campus. So I think it definitely stands out as being a Rollins student and Rollins in general. So do you guys have any advice in general for the incoming class, how to prepare for life at Rollins, anything of that sort, I guess, to both of you from two different perspectives?
Come on down. The weather's good down here.
It is, especially right now.
Yeah, exactly. Other than that, just get involved as much as you can. Open yourself up to new opportunities. Yeah, and don't think of your life so narrowly in terms of career. Like Sam was saying, right? Think of yourself as like finding what you're passionate about, finding yourself a little bit. That's kind of what this is about.
So advice for incoming freshmen?
As a former student,
Yeah.
do you have any extra?
I would say, definitely reaching out, definitely getting involved, and definitely taking advantage so that 10-to-1 student-faculty ratio that we talk about. We as students choose it because that means, we get the small class size, individualized attention, but the professors also chose to be professors here because they want that. If they wanted to just teach 3 courses and then do their outside coursework, then they could have taught at thousands of other schools, but they wanted to do that to build relationships with students. So as soon as you get on campus, find opportunities to get in touch with your professors outside of class. Like Dan said, we started off playing on the same intramural basketball team, and then the support that he's given me out in Tanzania when we had nothing out there and it was just an idea, that was huge for me in terms of feeling encouraged and feeling like someone was believing what I was doing. And I think there's a lot of professors here that they want you to come in and take that time, which I was lucky. I feel like my high school was the same way, but I don't know about every high school. Could be different, but definitely professors chose to come here because they want to know their students. So take advantage
just
of
to
that.
follow up on that, right? So I love teaching. I love being in the classroom, right? But these international trips that I take with students where you can see a kind of really deep, immersive, transformational experience is some of the most fulfilling stuff that I do with students, like playing basketball or, right? We talk about the whole student, right? We care not just about their mental development, but about the whole student. So, so that's the kind of stuff that I love doing with students and, why I came to Rollins, for sure.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will see you sometime later. So thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah, thank you, Molly. Appreciate it.